ascended to something greater than what you were. Explore your new surroundings. You're safe and free.
In just a few moments, these 5: American newspaperman, English bathing beauty, German scientist, Russian. In just a few moments, these 5: American newspaperman, English.
We pretend to log off.
Remember when we like thought we were breaking for the show and we were still online? We were like, it's gonna be like that. We're gonna like pretend that we're like, all right, we need some personal time. That's the end of the show.
That's the show, everyone. And then we all like, and we say, oh, are we clear? And then we just start talking like as if we're on a personal Zoom call for the rest of the show.
Okay.
Maybe not the rest of the show, depending on when we pull that bit out.
Yeah. Well, that was the initial pitch. That was
I don't know if I'd want to do the whole rest.
No, you don't have to. I'm just saying.
Depending on, we'll know when to
feel
stop
it out. We'll vibe it out.
But
I think it just draws attention to the fact that half the time when we're on live, it's just like a public Zoom call.
So are we? I think that's everything. Are you any questions or concerns for us today?
No, not today,
no. Not today. All right. Oh, that would have been a good bit for the logging off. But let's I'm ready to go up if y'all are.
All right, let me just. Is that interesting? Do y'all like that? Oh no, you can see the lamp. It's not as good when you can.
It's a good.
You like it?
I think it's cool if you can see it. Yeah.
Yeah. You like the lamp.
All right. It's on brand with amateur hour. That is my life. Okay, I'm just trying to expose this background so that the TV isn't like overpowering. When it comes to, there we go. Wish there was something over here to look at instead of just a wall, but.
No, it looks good. I like it. Don't worry. Now I gotta get a TV to play stuff.
Yes, ma'am. Well, see, if the dream of the joint studio, that's what we would just, you and I we'd have shit playing all the time. When I had my studio, I actually did one, and that was my life. But are we ready?
I'm ready.
Yeah, I'm I'm ready too.
Ready, Freddy.
You see this stick? Does this stick look nice?
Yeah, you should just keep adding things to like the.
Yeah, you're right. Actually, yeah.
Like a hoarding situation.
Perfect.
Wait, we're already live on YouTube right now.
Mm-hmm.
Are we? Oh no!
No, it's like playing a stock thing.
Okay.
No, we're on YouTube.
Wait, how? Oh, we are. Oh, because I forgot I was in studio mode.
Welcome!
This is the meta bit. This is perfect.
Wait,
welcome!
Someone's watching on YouTube right now.
To,
This is awesome.
Okay.
So do we play the intro or?
Yeah, no, we can start the show. It can be normal. We just ignore it. We just ignore it. This doesn't happen.
All right.
It's just a glitch.
Um.
Glitching out. All right, whenever you're ready.
All right. That's
Hello.
awesome. That's actually kind of awesome. I was making sure that the link worked.
Are we on still?
Does the link work?
Yeah. Oh, my YouTube. Like I was making sure my Instagram.
Oh, I'm trying to talk to you through the stream.
What?
I'm trying to speak to you through the stream.
Through the stream?
Are we?
Yeah.
Can they hear us now?
Yeah,
Is that what's
they
happening?
can still hear us. Our process is getting the process is getting revealed.
This is the Andy
There's
Thussy.
gonna be 10 Andy Thussy World shows. All right, do you want to start the opening?
Let's play the opening.
Okay, cool.
Do it. to the Andy Thussy Radio Show. I'm your host, Edmund F. And
Leftix. I'm here too. Yeah,
and
let's be
we
real.
got the
I'm what people are here for. All right, and then
we got the big
programmer.
bad wolf, the programmer. How?
Oh my god.
I have the
Well,
coin.
are we gonna be talking about the metaverse at all this episode? I feel like it's become a bit, but like I'm keeping my ear to the pulse of the metaverse, so I have some things to bring up. It's relevant to
on
these
my
novels.
list of things to do, I have on our list of topics for today, the interactive world according to Maya. So,
all right.
You know, if the metaverse fits in there.
Yeah, I think that covers it. I think that'll be good.
We'll get there. But you know, besides that, we literally have like nothing planned.
Oh, it's just one of those days. I don't even know what day it is, really.
It's Juneteenth.
It's Juneteenth. That's right. It was not well planned on our part. We just have no idea what day it is ever. Really.
Why are y'all working? It's Juneteenth.
That's true. It is a national holiday.
The Thussy siblings never take a day off. Basically, we just love.
I mean, we're not promoting it. We just acknowledge our place in capitalism. You know, work before life, work before breath. You know, that's what I always say.
Jeez. Maya, do you want to tell us a little bit about Juneteenth?
Yeah, Juneteenth is let me pull up my notes. And by notes, I fully disclose this is Wikipedia.
This is an official lecture by Professor Maya Thussy Darren.
And I am being sponsored by the Wikipedia Association. Wikipedia's explanation of Juneteenth is interesting because when you read farther down into it, at first it just says when you click. This is also, I guess, a moment to acknowledge the algorithm. When you look at the main Google page, when you look up Juneteenth, you get Juneteenth is a federal holiday in the United States commemorating the emancipation of enslaved African Americans. It is also often observed for celebrating African American culture. Originating in Galveston, Texas, it has been celebrated annually on June 19th in various parts of the United States since 1865. Which is crazy. It's like the longest running holiday in America. And it's only recently been declared a federal holiday. Basically, it's to commemorate the day that in Galveston, Texas, Union Army General Gordon Granger proclaimed the freedom for enslaved people in Texas. And because Texas was, even though the Emancipation Proclamation was signed 2 years before, Texas was like the most kind of rural and Wild West-esque of the colonies. And so the only reason people were freeing enslaved people was because they were being forced to by the pressure of the Union Army, and the Union Army just didn't get their asses out there. And then even though that Juneteenth is celebrated to commemorate that day, it wasn't until 1866 that the final enslaved people were freed in Union states, because even though it was outlawed to have slaves in Confederate states, Union states, they were like, no, that's fine. So there is no good cop, bad cop, because they're all cops, you know what I mean? So the North wasn't that much better at all, really. And so in Delaware and Kentucky, the last enslaved people were freed in 1866. So that's kind of what it's all for. But as it's been celebrated, the holiday is considered the longest running African American holiday and has been called America's second Independence Day. It's usually celebrated on the third Saturday of June. And historian Mitch Kachun, probably saying that wrong, Kachun, considers the celebration of the end of slavery to have three goals: to celebrate, to educate, and to agitate. So, and I thought this was interesting as well. Early celebrations consisted of baseball, fishing, and elaborate large meals and people wearing their best clothing. And it was also common for former enslaved people and their descendants to make a pilgrimage to Galveston, Texas, as early festivals received news coverage. And then they said that Janice Hume and Noah Akernew considered that they served to assimilate African American memories within the dominant American story. So it's an interesting and important part of American history and the American story and identity of what is modern day America. And so that's they also celebrate it via barbecue. And in my neighborhood, or I guess a few neighborhoods away, technically, a few boroughs away, there was a big outdoor barbecue with music and a long line, and it smelled delicious and it sounded great. So
Do you think the barbecue has anything to do with like the red? Because you told me something about red food or something.
Oh yeah, they often use red food as part of the celebrations, including red velvet cake and strawberry lemonade. And I don't know if the barbecue has to do. I think it partially has to do with just like the ways in which barbecue is a big part of African American culture and Black culture in the Americas. But I do know that one parking lot had a very prominent like local barbecue spot for like Southern style soul food barbecue, and they sell out really quick and they sell like huge amounts of it, and so it makes sense that was where that event was. But I hope that people spend, and also technically Monday is like the supplemental Juneteenth, even though it won't be the 19th. It is, I think, the days in which a lot of businesses are like symbolically taking the business day, so it's a bank holiday or whatever on Monday. But I could be incorrect, but that's what my Google Calendar, my Apple Calendar noted me of.
Yeah, I know my mom works in public schooling and she's not working tomorrow.
Right.
So I think it's like, banks, schools, government.
Federal
places.
Holiday, as they say.
Is school still
Sorry?
Is school still in session?
That's a great question. I don't know.
I do not think so. I think most people who get out of school for the summer are done. But
it feels so abstracted. I never know when these kids are out. But one day they're just like all over the street and they're just like shouldn't you be in school? And then like you don't have it. I'm like,
oh, look at the clock. It's summer. It's
the clock. It's summer.
The boys are back in town is playing on every radio station. And and you see kids in the streets. Your thermometer is going up.
You're in like the park, you're trying to like enjoy a nice day, and then like there's like 50 fucking birthday parties, and like why are there so many birthday parties? Because all the kids aren't in school, they're in the birthday parties.
That's so cute.
You know what?
I mean, yeah, there must be a lot of people's birthdays every single day when you live in a big city.
Well, I don't live in a big city. It's just my hut.
Oh. That's how many birthday parties are going on. Just in your neighborhood.
I just watch a lot of YouTube videos walking through big cities.
I thought the programmer lived in the biggest, coolest city in the world.
Wow. Are you some kind of...
I guess that's a lie. A big lie.
Big lie.
Holy cow.
That lie.
That's where the office is.
On whose part?
Oh, man. It's summer. Well, that's nice, You know what summer means?
Be careful out there, first of all. But what else does it mean?
Means a lot of fishing.
Yeah. Well, that's a way that people... we found out just now that people have been using the act of going fishing as a way to celebrate Juneteenth, which has to do with food sovereignty, which is an interesting topic we could talk about on a future episode if people are interested. It'll have to do with fishing and also, other things we care about.
So that was Juneteenth, explained to us by Maya, Professor Maya Thussy.
Not an expert, just someone with access to Google.
With the Wikipedia report.
Yeah.
But next, if you want to talk about this, Maya, is the this is a back-to-back bits for you, or
all right. segments, if you will.
Yeah, the interactive world according to Maya. What do we got? What's
right,
going
well,
on besides
in
besides this? Knock 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 knock.
in some news, okay, well, I watched some interesting. I guess I'll give you my credentials, which is that I studied media, but it was narrative and linear media, and then I couldn't bear to watch movies anymore. They happen around me, but I can't even see them. I'm blind to them, because I can't bring myself to watch a film because I'm too close to it. You know what I mean? They're too close to me. And but what I find interesting is the ways in which I can bring those, like the same kind of the ways in which I understand media and semiotics and communication through media, like how they affect us, and then keeping basically an ear to the pulse of new media and new mediums and interactive media that is emerging and affecting many people. Um, we find that gamification is an excellent tactic within our own lives to encourage us to, pursue something or be more efficient at something, because it's these forms of, I guess, simulation. So I think that most games, even early forms of ancient games, etc., they are in some ways simulations, right? There are war games that are some of the earliest games, and they have to do with simulating something. So even if the simulations have to do with like brain function, I find that like the easiest way is to look at um, interactive media is like under the larger umbrella of interactives. Of usually you can narrow them to games because they're the most like the most widespread and tangible. Like almost everyone has played a video game of some kind. So or interacted in something that you could consider to be a video game. One that I play a lot that I find very interesting is, or not that I play a lot because I mostly watch other people play it, is the Sims franchise. So the Sims franchise started in
You watch other people play
The Sims. Yes. Hello? Am I the one?
The Sims?
Lifting out? Yeah, I watch other
That's
people
wild.
play The Sims. Yeah. Um, But so the thing is that's interesting about The Sims is I think as whenever I play I like The Sims because I can create these alternate realities, right? It's like I like sandbox games. I like Minecraft. I like a peaceful mode, just because I don't want like dynamite creatures to blow up all the things that I've spent so long building. You know what I mean? I'm just here to like build stuff, and make art. And so I'm interested in sandbox games because they're almost like tools in which you can participate in the building of the metaverse. And I at my work I do some fabrication, and we work in, anyone who knows anything about like digital creation knows, or designing in the world of design, when it comes to physical products, they know about CADs, which are basically they're rendering softwares where you can like build things in 3 dimensions. Like you're not 3 dimensions, but you can. There are 3 dimensional objects that you can simulate on your screen, which is 2 dimensional. But then you can get the schematics for them and then print them out. There's all these ways in which you can manipulate them. It's like how Pixar fucking works, But instead of having it animate in a world, all the time you're taking it and you're transmitting it to machines into the physical world. So I'm really interested in this link between what is metaphysical, I guess you could say, and physical. Meta as in the metaverse, not necessarily metaphysical, the word itself. But so what I do with the Sims sometimes is like if I'm trying to design like my room, I'll like build it in the Sims so that I can move things around and figure out different positions, or like what kind of furniture should I buy, and like what would this workflow look like, whatever. I like to simulate it. I like games where I can simulate, like, oh, I would love to have my own garden. What would it look like? In some ways they're like these thought experiments, simulation building type games. And I was talking to one of the people I work with, and I was telling them about how I use sandbox games to almost like build simulations of my life. And what's interesting is the fact that you can do gameplay in them. You're not just building a world like you could in Google SketchUp or something, or Blender. You can then take a person, you can simulate life. What is it like to move around in that space? Are these things too close together? Like, does it make sense for life? Not just physical space and behavior. It's kind of combining those things in an interesting way.
Before we get too far into this, I just wanted to let anyone know who's watching that they can call in. You DM me or Maya on Instagram, And if you have any
me
hot
too.
takes about the interactive media that Maya Thussy Darren's talking about, we'll let you into the show. You can talk to us, give your spin on it. Sorry, Maya. I just wanted to throw that out there. We're
No,
always
for
looking for
sure.
people to join us on the show, and not many of you have joined us. My feelings are a little hurt here. You know, I mean,
Yeah, I'm just checking my DMs real quick to make sure no one's trying to call in.
you know, maybe
But
maybe I need to simulate an audience that will interact with Andy Thussy Warhol. You
we
know,
could do that. I watch a lot of simulation
Well,
style
what would you think
videos.
about that, programmer?
We had a simulated audience. The whole audience is AI.
What if we simulate?
We could buy some. We could buy some bots. In other words, is what you're saying.
What if we simulated the programmer? What if
I don't think that. I don't think.
Am I getting Bezos?
I don't think you can. I don't think that you can write this shit, as they say. You know, they say that about real life, like if you're a TV writer or a fictional writer, but then like you just steal things from IRL because you can't write this shit. That's how I feel about the programmer.
Can't write this shit.
But write as in code, like you can't write. You know what I mean? You can't write this shit.
Double, triple entendre.
Yeah,
oh
the multiple fold.
Double, triple helix.
Yes,
Oh, your movie's
exactly.
over.
Wow.
Okay, so to
your movie's over.
Your movie's over.
Oh, to retract. Well, it's not over. Look at all those people. Look at all those people.
Important names
they
right
worked
there.
on it. They made things. You know, like they had to make it happen.
Programmer confirmed not class ally. Turns off credits when movie ends.
Yeah. What is that?
Maya, we have a comment on the stream.
Oh yeah.
From someone who's definitely not the ecstasy of communication. Says the map precedes reality. Baudrillard.
Baudrillard. Yes.
You know.
Well, I'm surprised that this person who's totally not the ecstasy of communication hasn't said something about the folds in which something may elude us with it, what we're talking about. But I would say that right, we were talking about how I use the Sims to simulate things that I'm trying out in real life. Sometimes I'll even do it with like routines. I'm like, how can I because helping to visualize things for ourselves really does help code our brains to be able to do it. Like there are a lot of Olympic athletes that they've trained their brains that they picture themselves doing it. There's this like a self-affirmation, this like positive feedback loop of like, you can do it and you will do it because you've done it before, and just do it. And so there's a way in which I think that positively affects some people who just like need to see things to see that they're possible, you know. It helps some brain function. But I think that's interesting because so much of what we think life can be now is what we see projected to us through media that we can't interact with, right? Like we just have to take it as it is, linear, and it comes into us, and we say, okay, I guess life can be this way. But imagine if you could manipulate that environment to see what life, what potential options, what alternate interactions and realities that could come of an experience of reality. And so there's an indie company that is creating a game called Paralives, because no one is like besides Second Life, which is an MMO like custom thing. Like you can make custom content for The Sims, but for the most part, EA is a company that knows that if it gives you too many of the tools, if they give you all the tools, then you won't buy their stupid packs. You know, they'd have to make something that works and is revolutionary each time. And they don't know what people want. They're just trying to make money. They're a soulless company. Everyone knows this. Anyway, so EA is not interested in that. And so because no other company was stepping up to it, because The Sims were so well known and they were covering that niche, even though I'm so surprised that more people are not interacting with it, because Second Life and stuff like that, there's a level of like coding, or not even coding, but like interacting with an interface that is confusing, and there's a learning curve to understand how to make your own stuff in these outside CAD programs and Blender and things like that, and then importing them, and then things can get fucked up in the code. But you know, if you just created tools in which you can resize things and like use exact measurements, which is what Paralives is doing, and because they know what people want, which is the tools to access that they like be able to access the tools to manipulate and help build their own like little corner of the metaverse. Because the metaverse isn't a place that can be owned like Zuckerberg thinks. It is just the ways in which we interact virtually and the spaces that we inhabit.
Whoa.
Whoa.
Whoa. That's pretty. That's over my head. You know, that's above my pay grade. I gotta say.
This indie game is gonna come out called Paralives, where basically they've created an architecture building dollhouse type simulator, which is what The Sims was when it first came out. But it allows you to use exact measurements. It tells you the angles of things and the heights of things, so you can recreate real spaces. And I think some of that feeds into the fact that so many of these young people who use the internet and make themselves virtual spaces know they will actually never own a real home. You know, we won't get these spaces in real life. We can't hold on to our physical past. We have to keep moving with whatever we can, you know, wherever the economy pushes us. And maybe at least we can have some simulated version of what we once remember as our own home and space and etc.
Maya, I have one question about all this simulation theory stuff.
Go ahead.
Interactive media. Can you simulate the end of the world? Because I think
it depends on what we call the world. Like, define your terms here. What do you think?
I think we have some videos that kind of explain it.
Yeah, I mean, let's tuck in. Let's go. Let's tuck in. It's Pride weekend. Let's tuck in, folks. Get ready for what we're about to see.
You heard it from Maya. Programmer, we got those videos.
I hope so. I have something called trailers.
Stock. Ready? Yeah,
it says trailers. I hope it's the videos. This could be horrible.
We might have a whole bunch of trailers piled on top of each other.
It could be that, or it could be like the vehicles.
Oh yeah.
Have you ever been to a tractor pull?
A tractor pull?
Yeah.
This could be
where tractors just pull stuff, right?
All right, so let's pray.
Tractor pulls trailers.
All right, we're switching to trailers now.
In just a few moments, these 5, American newspaperman, English bathing beauty, German scientist, Russian soldier, Chinese peasant girl, will be given the power to destroy every human being on Earth. What will they do? What will their governments force them to do? What would you do?
Each of the capsules has a diameter of lethal radiation, which is exactly 3,000 miles. There is then, in the combined capsules, more than enough power to wipe out all human life on your planet. People of Earth, I am an alien from outer space.
Don't say anything. I thought you'd never make it.
How long are we going to stay here, just hiding like hunted animals?
You don't think I like hiding, do you?
We've been here 10 days. We've managed to disagree on every one of them.
Actually, we've had all the disadvantages of marriage without any of the advantages.
Jonathan, stop.
But it's true.
It's time I went to bed.
Demand is hereby made for the immediate withdrawal of all American forces and civilians on land, sea, and air
to within the limits of continental United States on pain of total war.
Every human being alive will die unless science solves the riddle of the destruction capsules from outer space before the 27th day.
Answer me, Klaus. Where are they?
I've launched them.
Soon the world will be ours.
Toward Mars, this rocket ship headed
35 million miles away through space. And then suddenly, radio contact was broken, and the world believed it to be forever lost. But strangely and unaccountably, these space travelers had crashed the time barrier into the inconceivable world of the year 2508. This was an awesome world, ravaged by atomic radiation, inhabited by mutated monsters lusting to kill. Look out!
In just a few moments, these five, American newspaperman, English bathing beauty, German scientist, Russian soldier, Chinese peasant girl, will be given the power to destroy every...
What did we
And-
just...
What?
What were you going to say? Sorry, I didn't mean to speak over you.
I said, and then I've never been to a bar mitzvah before. Anyway,
Wow.
off the air, folks. You know,
I've
the
been-
Andy
I've-
Thussy radio show is a lot more interesting.
I've been to a bar mitzvah. It was fun.
Programmer, what was the best year for you for bar mitzvahs? What was the hottest year?
The hottest year?
The hottest
Yeah.
year for bar mitzvahs. The hoppiest stuff going on. The
I think 13.
biggest swag.
That's when they happen.
Oh, okay.
I wasn't getting invited to bar mitzvahs like retroactively.
I didn't know if
I
you were
wasn't,
like friends with any older kids, maybe, or
like when I was 7.
or
Yeah.
maybe you
Yeah,
went.
that's how I got invited, because it was like some family friend's older brother. And I was like, wow, this seems, it's dancing and chairs and goodie bags and lots of like the color white and blue.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's custom.
Lime.
Well, if anyone wants to call in, we might have someone. I might have to send the link out. But if anyone wants to call in, give us their hot takes. We're talking about simulations and interactive media, the world of it, according to Professor Maya Thussy Darren.
Rogue Professor.
Yes.
Maya Thussy Darren. I also watched a video that was about, I recently watched a short doc that was about the highest paying brothel in Second Life, which is, do you guys know what Second Life is?
Yes.
Do you know would you have known what Second Life was if you've never seen The Office? This is the second question I like to ask people, because there's a lot of people saying no.
I've actually never seen The Office.
You know what? I have so much respect for you, Programmer. Programmer might be a bot, guys, but if they are, I still like them, you know?
And I'm at the other end of the spectrum. I only know of Second Life because of The Office.
Right. That's what I'm saying. So, Second Life is like, it's like a life. It's like Paralives. The name of that is this very Second Life vibes, right? It's your parallel life. Second Life is, your online world, and it's kind of like Web 1.0's view of like it's like GeoCities era, and it's been online for a long time, and it's kind of what VR chat is now. If you guys don't know what VR chat is, neither do I, because I've never been, but I watched some interesting tech journalists go into VR, and VR chat is actually this like really beautiful like early web hub right now, where there's just like no ability to basically police against copyright infringement, which we could talk about sometime on the show. I've gotten multiple memes taken down for having media that is in some way exists already, and I'm like, yeah, that's just life, man. I'm surrounded by ads, and then you're like, don't put your stuff, don't put my ads in your stuff, because we're supposed to be making that money, and it's just wild. But yeah, Second Life's brothel is very interesting. People Make Games is the name of the journalism channel that I watch. It's all about that. And then I recently watched a video also about, can we make talking in games as interesting as shooting?
So I have a caller.
A caller.
Yeah.
Are you showing us their number right now? Or are you
No, it's
doxing
just on Instagram. So we're gonna
All right.
put them on. We're gonna put them on speaker.
All right, perfect.
All right, we got a caller. Who is it?
Hello. Wait,
A little louder.
put it near the microphone.
Wait,
Put
let
them on
me.
speaker.
Oh, okay. Sorry. Sorry, you weren't on speaker.
It's Egg.
Can you hear it?
I feel like it sounds like a ransom call. It's Egg. Wow.
What's
All right,
going
Egg.
on?
Oh, not much. I was enjoying your radio show. I can't hear Maya this way though, unless she's just being silent for once.
Wow.
Wow. What are you the comments on someone else's live?
Yeah, that's the problem. You're supposed to use the Zoom link and not call me directly on Instagram.
Too high tech for me.
Oh my.
Passwords and
fellow
numbers.
elderly
It's
person.
like I have to be a coder to hack into the stream.
Well,
Maya
I think we're getting some fair feedback here about our accessibility for the elderly.
I could probably.
Maya says that we're getting some good feedback about our accessibility to the elderly.
Oh, congratulations.
So, listen, Ed, I think you're going to have to try to call us another way. I mean, come on. You can call one of those the Zoom numbers.
You could do it, Egg.
You can figure out your area that you're in, which I will not say, and you can call from that number. Here, I'll even find it for you. Let me do that.
I'll try it.
All right, let's see if this works. And programmer, let's not show this person in case their phone number comes up or something. I don't know, but
yeah.
All right.
Let's not also.
All right, we'll see you soon.
Just let Egg know it's not a diss. I guess they'll find out now. That wasn't a diss at Egg. The whole point is that everyone knows that Thussies are elderly. We are dust. Hashtag admin F is old as dust. Do you not remember?
Oh my gosh, that's a throwback.
You couldn't even turn speakerphone on just now.
Yeah, well, I think my phone screen is just a little messed up, and I probably am due for a new phone here, but I really don't want to do that, for many different reasons. I'll lose all my memes.
Yeah, dude.
Speaking of memes,
who diss?
Speaking of, I think it's time for the meme cast.
Oh,
and
yes.
No, we call this segment the meme cast. And no, it's not about fishing, even though fishing is in the meme cast for Andy Thussy Warhol. Speaking of fishing, I have a question for all you big city slickers. All right. I want to know specifically for hashtag NYC for New York City. Can you fish in NYC? Like, can you fish in Central Park?
I don't know about Central Park, but you can in New York City.
100%. Without a doubt, yes.
Yes, the program.
Most of the city is, in fact, is a fish-based economy. So when Bitcoin got popular in, say, 2010, tickers were like a thing, right? So FSH, we thought that meant fish. So when we adopted the cryptocurrency as our main form of transactional means, we accidentally typed in FISH. So now we hunt fish to purchase things at the bodega.
If this doesn't sound like how if I were in the 90s writing about a future, a dystopian future for New York, that is definitely the story I believe it. You can't write this shit.
Can you admit that this person calling without showing their number like that? Or I don't know if that's the real number. Like, do you see that, programmer? We got a caller.
Oh no, I don't see it.
Oh, we've got some live
tech
support.
See, I don't know whether I should admit them because then will they show directly on the screen right away?
Yeah, we can do a little hide. Let's do a little hide.
All right.
A little sneak.
A little hide. All right, we're doing a little hide. We're off.
No, I can. All right.
We cut. Wait.
Oh.
No, we're good. All good.
All right.
We cut the wire.
Now, can you take them off the screen and then put me and Maya back?
They're not on the screen.
Oh, they're not.
Oh.
You don't see
on?
them?
Are we on the air?
Are we on the air?
The air is on, but the screen is not.
All right.
Okay,
so
cool.
we got this
welcome.
caller.
Hello, caller.
I'm not wearing a collar. Are you?
There you go.
Oh,
All right, let's
my
transfer back.
God.
3, 2, 1.
Unleashed.
Okay, now you're back on.
We're back on. Sorry for that, folks. But
There was a
we got a
momentary-
caller. We got a caller. And the caller says,
Hello.
you're not wearing a collar.
Yes.
Someone just take me out.
I have a collar. Are you from a big city?
I'm from Silicon Valley, which is sort of a metropolis.
Do you live in a big city?
No, technically I live in a small town, but it's where like Facebook is and Instagram and all this stuff.
We were just talking about whether you can fish in a big city like New York City, #NYC. I really want to get I want to get to the bottom of it. It's just I think the programmer was being a little snippy snappy with me.
Cheeky, if you will.
Cheeky.
It's all true.
It's all true. But what we're really talking about here is the meme cast. What's in the future or the past of memes and what's going on? And
memes.
Yeah, memes, the meme cast.
Yeah. What have you noticed?
Memes are dead. I mean, memes are boring, first of all.
All right.
Memes are sort of like Plato's cave, the images on the wall and the prisoners chained watching the images. I mean, that's really what memes are, It's distraction, from
it's kind of like
reality.
Watching a sitcom and thinking it's real life.
Kind of like watching a sitcom, yeah.
All right, there we go.
Well, I think you kind of oversimplified
the
their admin effort.
Closet cave thing.
No,
this is a commercial for Plato's Closet.
I want to know, like when you say, they are the shadows in the wall, and what is what's outside the cave, like what's outside our windows, like is this
like
reality?
Grass and sky? No, those are just the next room of images to look at to distract you from the reality.
But what's the reality then? Or are you talking about the real?
If I knew that, I probably wouldn't be here right now.
Well, I would say that there's reality, which is like our perceived, like what we're talking about here. Reality is just like our perceived understanding, right? But then there's the real, which I can't even refer to because even by calling it the real, I have bastardized it by representation, right? The real is just
yes.
So, right, but I would say that like not me pointing my camera out the window at the clouds and trees. That's not exactly the real. But I think the experience of being outside of I think this ties actually very well into what we were talking about earlier with like the Sims and simulation type games, Second Life, etc. Is that a lot of people are incredibly anxious and they feel like they're in some kind of simulation, and they spend a lot of time exclusively in human cultivated, landscaped, if you will, environments, right? They are simulations. Like walls don't grow on trees. Like they don't exist without us. It's something that we
areas
build.
that have been generated from a map model. Like we were saying, the map precedes the territory. We have like sort of a 3D printing of reality going on, where the human mind has a creative, imaginative idea of what could be, and then it draws a model of it, and then it builds it like architecture.
Yeah, I was just
trying to talk about silly little images with words on top of them.
I think what we're saying is true, because we're talking about the meme cast, right? Because I would say let's look at meme history real quick. I think that the American landscape in some ways is a meme. Like I was driving around through like rural or rural all over the country really. When I was driving across the country. And if you end up in like one small, as long as you get away from like the wide open spaces, anything that is too elevated where you can see landscape beyond, the land beyond what is your initial surroundings, when you find yourself amongst strip malls and 4-lane highways, it feels so familiar. I can't tell that I've been in a different, like I see other people's environments of strip malls and like parking lots, and it looks like places I've known before and grown up in, because we've done such an efficient job, like capitalism has done such an efficient job of homogenizing the Anthropocene that so much of us live in amongst. Watching the show Catfish is a really interesting experience, because when they go to these small towns where everyone has seemingly the same story of feeling like they've met someone online who understands them, that they can't find in the people around them, and the small towns always feel so similar, even though they're on different ecosystems essentially.
Well, this whole homogenization makes it a lot easier for everyone to be sort of efficiently going along their track, carrying out their tasks and whatnot. It's sort of like a computer grid, or a circuit board, I should say. Not a computer grid, a circuit board is the proper name. And it's sort of like, we're all little electrical sparks flying through this board to our proper places and whatnot, based on certain prompting us to move to this, along this line to this object, and then, filtered through this other object and off to another task. And yes.
I think that's an excellent way of, I was just saying that's like an excellent way of both making it a physical metaphor as well as accounting for the ways in which programming, both physically in the circuitry, and also the ways in which those higher levels of abstraction all mirror our experiences of programming our own brains of routine, and the ways in which basically everything that is like technology, computers, circuit boards, etc., are expressions and abstractions and reflections of human cognition, because we made them.
That's interesting. I kind of has to go into what I want to get talking about here, because I know we're gonna stay up here on the Andy Thussy radio show. We're gonna stay up a little past our bedtimes. We're gonna go a little past 10, but we don't have a whole lot of time. We can't do a whole nother hour. But listen, DALL-E and AI generated images. I wanted to bring this up because we only do the show every 2 weeks or so. And I feel like these AI generated images hit really fast and they're already dead, but they're still going to ripple through the other communities online and stuff. And people
are they dead, or is it like the oversaturation is a way for us to think less of the significant breakthrough? Like this, I think, is the we were talking a little bit before the show, and I guess the question I want to pose here is are the DALL-E memes, are they, or like the act of having them behave like memes? When we talk about memes, we're talking about the niche definition of like images spread around that have words often on them and then are spread in a specific way. Like, does that kind of, since it's like bang bust, it's too overwhelming for us to consider, and therefore we forget about it, and in fact we disregard the significance of the tool that it is? I don't know.
These things are developing. Like, I just did a stream yesterday about AI, and it was like a 40-minute stream about AI and robotics and whatnot. And one of the points that I'll re-emphasize is that how the processors and computers get faster every 2 years, like by a certain amount, and it's like a constant. It's a constantly improving technology. Well, this is what AI is going through. It's going through a cognitive development, and right now the AI images you're seeing are like sort of child level AI paintings, but like eventually, there's going to be applications of this that are more and more mind blowing. So this is just like one wave of it's not like this is what all AI art will look like forever. This is like the current stage of some consumer application of AI. Like it's really minimal compared to, I think, what is actually AI is being applied to outside of the normal consumer landscape.
Well, yeah, I saw that headline that came up. That came.
Do you think there's anyone who doesn't know what we're talking about if they're gonna who might watch this?
Yeah, I guess how would we? Yeah, how? If you could call her, give us a like. How would you describe to like my mom, for example? What? How do we boil down the significance or like what is going on with these images in a way that's has to do with I don't know
Well,
how
I
can
was
we
even just
contextualize
thinking simpler than that. Like, what's an AI image maker? I don't know what the fuck to call them.
generator?
Generator, AI image generator.
Yeah.
Yeah, like what are its constraints that make it
No,
defined
what
as what it is?
like I guess I want to get into some context of like Dally isn't the first one that we've seen go through the meme sphere. Like there was Neural Blender. What was that last
Yes.
year? And that I feel like there's been other ones too in between that, but this one really, I think this one just this one's definitely like a what's it called, a progression of like what we've seen in the past, huh?
Milestone.
Would you
Yeah.
say
Yeah.
overall?
It's. I mean, but think about how how it's probably doing what it does. I mean, if I were to design something like that, crudely speaking, I mean, you type in a prompt. Like I typed in, for example, what did I do? Bambi smoking weed, right? And the images that came up were pretty funny. Kind of like stone zonked out, like sometimes Picasso looking like Bambi, with some green smoke or whatever. But what is that? I mean, you go onto Google, you type in Bambi, then you do a separate window, you type in weed smoke or whatever, and you can kind of see like these images are being synthesized. Just these are basic like syntheses
Yeah.
of concepts. It's not like that deep or and if you try to give it a more complex prompt, it really didn't deliver. It just kind of like
Yeah.
it just kind of gave you something not really impressive. So it is not that inconceivably deep in my opinion, and what AI could really do conceivably, theoretically in the future, or what someone's doing with it privately or somewhere where we're not seeing in the public eye, it's probably a lot more advanced than that. For example, I
Yeah.
just saw an ad yesterday on Instagram, in the middle of all this Dolly meme business. It's like turns your photographs into like, it's like a filter that turns your photographs into like a Renaissance style painting, right? These are the kind of things that we're going to be seeing, like just like little consumer applications. Someone's trying to make a quick buck off of someone else's algorithm, or they come up with their own algorithm or whatever, and they can kind of market something that a few thousand million people might download and use. But it's not like these are huge corporations. Like if Apple or Google decided that they're going to build an AI generator like Dolly, I mean, you could imagine that it would be maybe a lot more complex, a lot more sophisticated. But right now, that's not their focus, it doesn't seem like. Or maybe it's some project that's in a basement somewhere that's got a little bit of funding on it, but they haven't released anything yet.
Yeah, or it has a lot of funding and it's listed as something else and we just don't know about it and they are working with, who fucking God knows. I think what's concerning to me about because like I don't know, I work for commercials and just the NDA agreements about how secret even like fucking stupid ass ads that are so disposable are that you're like not supposed to talk about it ever again if you were anywhere near it, you know what I mean, because there will be like legal physical repercussions sometimes. Like I don't know, it's this like limiting of information, and then I don't know, there's this tension I find very interesting in ways in which, like I talked about a little bit earlier, VR chat, and how it's kind of like the early internet where you couldn't be like they didn't have the AI to scan through everything and be like who is ripping off all of these copywritten images. And like copyright itself is such a joke. It is literally being upheld for Disney. They jokingly called it the Mickey Mouse like addendum or whatever, when they keep extending the amount of years in which you can hold copyright for something, because Disney's like, we need Mickey. Our whole empire is built on this image. If it belonged to people, it would dismantle everything that we've worked towards to, like, you know, manipulate people to continue this business.
Well, sure, it's like their brand, it's their logo.
Right, of course. But I'm just saying there's an interesting push and pull between, like, the fact that, like, at this moment there's so much stuff being put out online. And I think that there was that, because now things can be filtered out, right? Like, before they had AI that could ping every time you posted audio or visuals that were copywritten. Before we had that, like, free stuff was just everywhere, you know. And even now you can Google right now, people, you can look up Put Locker, insert your favorite film, make sure you have ad block on or a VPN, and watch it for free, and you don't have to pay. But like because it can't shut down all of the websites. So there's this interesting back and forth, like, tension between the ways in which images proliferate, and how, and like the attempts to police images and say what can't be out there. And I just think it's interesting the ways in which AI currently, the image generator AI, is being fed by what is allowed out there, you know, or what is being created, what is being funded, what it has access to, what can the AI eat and absorb into its brain. This is all like that film Warm Bodies logic here, where the zombies eat the brains of people, but then they get their memories too. Like, what can the AI consume in order to integrate and then create more images? But it relies on human input, just like all computers. Like, there's always maintenance that is fed by individuals. So I don't know, it's just interesting.
I, in my stream yesterday, was talking about the codependent relationship that the pre-singularity AI and human entities are engaged in, that there is a sort of, you know, there would be no AI right now, really, without human input, yet, you know, the humans are profiting off the AI, so they're sort of collaborating, you know, and I guess it's a little bit of an arm wrestling match, because when you get to the singularity point, you know, it's like whoever's on top kind of dominates the other, literally. I mean, you know, if the AI becomes the dictator of what we do in order to make money, then really who's in charge? You know, that's the sort of singularity moment, you know.
And I think
that takes me to. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Oh no, I was just gonna say that just reminds me of this. I got to this moment where I finally understood the concept of cancer, and then my brain immediately, like, in my past, and my brain immediately, like, understood it's not like it's a virus or something. It's like it's its own malfunction of a system, right? And then I was like, that's kind of like humans on the earth and how it kills, because the cancer, like, is a living thing that malfunctions to a point where it consumes its host until the host dies. And if we consider, like, our, you know, if we were acting parasitically and the earth is our host, like, will we expand until its death? And really it's like a malfunction and a mutation within our evolution to think money, capitalism must be upheld over everything else, because that's like a it's a misdistributing of your priorities, you know, and energy. But it's interesting in the ways, like, will capitalism as its own, like, meta machine within our understanding as humans of, like, what it is to be a human, will that allow for AI to step in, and will that ensure, you know what I mean? Like, if AI is the only way that capitalism can endure, will we hand over the reins to AI to ensure that capitalism endures, or will there be some moment of human manual control being taken over? You know, I wonder.
So I gotta say here, I think I need to take some personal time. This is too much for me. Like I said, over my head, above my pay grade, and I'm just tired.
Don't Thussy out on us now.
I'm just tired. What'd you say?
Don't Thussy. I said don't Thussy out on us now.
That's not how Thussy gets used. Whatever.
Are you policing the use of Thussy?
Whatever. Listen.
That's
it. That's it. Programmer. That's it. Programmer. End the show. We're done.
Cut the
cord.
All right.
That's a wrap. We didn't even get to.
We're off the air.
We didn't even get to the good part.
Oh, okay.
We're
getting the last video.
We're off the air, but you're still.
And we got the last video playing.
Yeah.
Oh, great.
Well, it's okay that we're off the egg. Tell us what you would have said.
Well, when I wanted to join the stream, we were still talking about Sims and whatnot. I guess I wanted to jump into like beyond like again like
do you have a
beyond the
cigarette?
consumer category.
Do I?
Yeah.
Sorry?
Can I just smoke a cigarette? It's a long show.
I go for. I could.
Yeah,
you want
just
me to
pass-
roll you
yeah,
one?
yeah, just pass me.
All right.
Yeah,
All right.
yeah.
Let me.
Can you roll me one as well?
Like
Yeah, sure. I'll roll. I'll roll a couple.
Beyond the consumer market for this technology, we have to remember we're in a trickle down economy, and that gets back to the Plato's cave thing, where there is beyond these images there's something that these images came from, which are military applications and whatnot that are actually like
my son
the
uses
real
this
discussion.
AI thing to make these memes. Should I be worried about that?
Yeah, well, there's memes have their own military role, I guess, too, in terms of spreading misinformation. No, but like more realistically, like when we talk about simulations as a technology, to me at least in its highest stage, what we're talking about
I'm
is
making yours.
Keep going, Egg.
What we're talking about with simulations in their highest stage, I feel like is more like what you see with even even in the Cold War era, where you're consulting a computer, and what's going on in the computer is that each country has their own AI basically that is simulating reality to the highest possible degree it can, and calculating in that quantum field, if I do this, what will happen? And it's an attempt to predict the future by simulating the environment to such a high degree that you can see what would happen if I attack here, or if I don't attack here, or all these variables. And the simulation,
like
what it
heavy
really
lifting.
is, what it really means to
That's a
go
lot,
for it.
That's
What?
a lot of lifting.
Oh, I was gonna say it's doing the heavy lifting that like normally a bunch of code breakers and calculators all in a room in a war room would be doing, but it's doing it like it's still based on like human information, like given that all that we know, how much that we can collect. I think we were talking about this a little bit, Egg. Maybe I don't know if you were
We
there or not.
did talk about this before.
We talked about, I talked about the future of money. Like I was saying how there's a shift, like money doesn't mean anything, information is the new currency. I mean, information has always been the only currency kind of, but like I think that in this world where literally your money is just binary code information in someone's computer, I feel like this is along that theory of like the theory of information, in the ways in which if you boil it all down, we're not on the gold standard anymore. We've reached like this is the information age. So
yeah, money has been information. It's a
Should I get my kid off of Minecraft? Is that bad for him?
No, I think Minecraft is good. Well, actually, my little cousin once played Minecraft with me, but it was like I haven't played since I was really young, and he just took like a bunch of dynamite and dolphins and was like blowing up pandas, and I was like, the fuck is happening? I was like, is this what kids are doing? Is this what their minds are like?
Yeah, my son, he's like, call me a blockhead. I don't know what to do about him.
I think I'll give you a Roblox reference. Actually, low-key, I could totally talk about Roblox and how corrupt they are. And like what a weird fucking thing Roblox is.
Oh, you
I
see
guys,
the
I watched
video? There's like that video. No, I've seen that actually. The Roblox,
yeah.
like the guy, they went after him.
And then they went after them for reporting on it, so they dug deeper.
Yeah, they're pedophile. It's Roblox was like a pedophile. Ring.
Yeah. Basically.
Could I finish one point on the military application simulation?
Yes,
just
please.
like I think just to finish it off, like it's a long discussion, so I know you guys are trying to wrap it up. So just to finish it off, I think the question that I'm most interested in when we get into that territory is about singularity and what happens when you're consulting these computers and they become like, who's in charge? Like if you're going to the Oracle of Delphi and asking like, what should I do? Like, but it's now it's a computer, and it has a better understanding of the quantum reality and the physical equation of life. And you're sort of going into it and trusting it and making decisions about people's lives based off of what a computer tells you, at what point, do you stop trusting that computer? At what point does it start having motives of its own?
That computer only knows what we know. It like computers, I mean, they can like connect other dots, but it's very unlikely that no human brain has ever thought of that thought. You know what I mean? Like the human mind is so much more complex than the machines that we abstract from them.
No, because it has a different kind of mind. It has an extremely mathematical. It's an extremely mathematical. Like I said, like you don't have in your head, like you have intuition and you can throw a football like 300 yards maybe or whatever, or 100 yards, 300 feet, and or whatever, and make like a perfect play, right, without a computer. But to launch missiles across the entire planet to exact coordinates is a whole nother type of thinking.
This is supposed to be my personal
anyway, that's
time.
the last thing I wanted to say.
This is supposed to be my personal time off the air. We're just hanging out after the show. This caller, the egg, wants to just come in here and yep. We're here to decompress. And we're just like,
What about our show caller? What about our show caller?
Did anyone check to make? We're definitely not on the air, right?
No, we're off. We're off the air.
We're off the air.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Are you sure?
No, I'm sure. Yeah. No, I fucked up earlier, and I wouldn't want to. This what this job means to me.
Right.
Andy, and I'll pay you back. I will pay you back, Andy.
Well, thank you. Thank you to the egg for keeping the personal time small talk. That's honestly, this is what I would, if you were in here, caller, this is just what I would be on about. So I'm grateful that you brought some insight.
Wasn't it good when I called meme sitcoms? That was pretty good, right?
I was laughing so fucking hard.
Programmer, could you imagine living in a sitcom? Could you imagine? There we go.
Oh my god, terrifying.
Just as good as the first time.
Just as good as the first time. Reruns all the time. Oh man. What do you think about that, Egg? What do you think about that?
Sometimes it feels like we're in one already.
Right. The way that people set up the lights in their living room sometimes, I'm like, what, have you seen Full House? Like, why is this, like, what are we facing? There's no camera. There's no audience, guys. Why do we look like the Last Supper over here?
Oh my.
That's a funny comparison of the architecture of a sitcom house being like the Last Supper, of how everyone's on the same side of the table so that Leonardo da Vinci could get them all in the picture without seeing the backs of their heads. You know what I mean? And then also, you know what I'm saying here?
Yeah. Like eating
the
on a long
fourth
table
wall
seems like a really bad idea.
The fourth wall.
Who's behind there watching you?
The fourth wall. The fourth
it's
wall.
Us. We are the fourth wall. Or I guess the caller was the fourth wall, and now you're on the other side of the wall with us.
This is the fourth wall.
Or at least the call. The call is definitely coming from inside the house.
I'm just lost. I don't know where I am.
All right.
Oh
well,
shit! I forgot to stop streaming.
You're just clipping through the world. You're just clipping through.
Listen, I gotta say, we've been on the air. We know it. Thank you for joining us tonight on the Andy Thussy Radio Show. And
thank you for having me on.
Yeah, thank you,
Of
Ed.
course.
We appreciate it.
Here's today's live stream sketch of everything that we talked about, and the picture. This is also a photorealistic depiction of everyone on the show, in case you're blind. Here it is.
There's a touch to it. There's a feel to it.
Yeah. I mean, there really is. If you were here in person, you would know.
To close,
you just trust me.
To close out, we have another sad song by another dirty dog. So I hope y'all enjoy it. Good night.
Good night.
Luck, and
I gotta pull up this song. I gotta watch
all that stuff.
All that stuff.
Играй, играй. Играй. Молодец. Молодец, молодец. Басков отдыхает, давай, Басков отдыхает, давай. Играй. Давай, 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 давай. Играй, играй. Этой лапой тоже отдыхай. Давай, давай, давай. Одной лапой играет.